Imagine waking up to the world's worst software update. Gravity has gone on strike. You push back your blanket, and it politely floats away like an offended pillow. Your phone drifts toward the ceiling. Cereal becomes a slow-motion glitter cloud, and your cat stares at you as if you personally betrayed physics. 30 glorious seconds of floating selfies sound fun. People will film levitating coffee and call it an art form. Then reality, being annoyingly competent, reminds you why gravity exists. First casualty, the air. Gravity keeps our atmosphere wrapped close to Earth like cling film on leftovers. Without it, air molecules have nothing to hold them down. They spread out and drift into space. Breathing becomes a countdown. You'd have minutes, not hours. Enough time for dramatic coughing and regret, not for rational planning. Next, water. Oceans are not glued to the ground. They're held by gravity. Remove that invisible anchor and seas peel off the planet like enormous slow-motion water balloons. The Pacific wouldn't stay put. It would lift and form massive floating sheets before fragmenting into droplets. Coastal cities would watch harbors empty into the sky as fishing boats bob upward like lost bath toys. Buildings rely on weight and compression to keep them stable. Without down, structural behavior becomes chaotic. Mortar, bolts, and beams were never meant for a world where down is a suggestion. Parts of buildings might drift away. Windows would detach and orbit a drifting coffee shop, and architectural plans would become historical documents. Our bodies are built under gravity's rule. Astronauts in microgravity experience fluid shifts, puffy faces, muscle loss, and bone thinning over time. Now imagine those effects starting overnight across Earth. Blood and body fluids redistribute. The cardiovascular system stumbles. People feel dizzy, bloated, and unwell. Plumbing and sewage systems that rely on gravity fail. Toilets, once comedic in space videos, become public health crises. The moon's relationship with Earth depends on gravity. If Earth loses its own gravity field, the moon may drift into a new path under the sun's pull. Tides, the rhythmic heartbeat of coastal ecosystems, would vanish instantly, collapsing fisheries and wiping out species that depend on tidal cues. The moon's absence would also destabilize Earth's axial tilt over long timescales and scramble seasons. Here's the heavier punch. Gravity holds the planet together. Earth is not a monolithic solid. It's a layered, dynamic sphere with a molten core, mantle, and crust. Gravity provides the inward pull that balances the outward pressure from internal heat. Remove that pull and the planet's cohesion weakens. Over time, stresses could cause structural fragmentation. Continental plates could drift not from tectonics, but from fundamental disassembly. In extreme, cinematic scenarios, Earth could begin to fragment into a scattering of rubble. Now the social side. Societies rely on predictable physics. Transportation, agriculture, construction. These systems assume a stable gravitational field. When that predictability collapses, supply chains choke and emergency services struggle. Panic is the real multiplier. Human institutions are surprisingly fragile when the underlying physical rules break. Markets crash, hospitals overload, and coordination frays while people confront immediate survival. Before you sink into total despair, remember this is a thought experiment. Gravity does not have an on-off switch. It's woven into space-time and linked to mass. The universe isn't going to decide to nap. Still, imagining its absence illuminates how many mundane systems depend on that quiet pull. There is, however, a poetic image in the chaos. For a fleeting, terrifying minute, cities would look like dreamscapes. Cars gliding past office windows, park benches spinning like curious satellites, and children laughing before emergency sirens take over. It would be beautiful and horrifying at once. A surreal mise-en-scene that reminds us how fragile our routines are. So next time you curse gravity for cracking your phone screen, whisper a small thank you instead. It is literally the invisible architect that keeps your coffee in the mug and the whole planet from dissolving into space. And if you liked that loop of doom, try this seed. What if gravity didn't vanish but reversed for a day? Would we all be shot into the void like confetti, or would a new, stranger equilibrium form? That is a much weirder rabbit hole.